In this episode, we interview Brendan Forwood from Sirius Impact. Right, mate. So, pretty informal. I think we'll just roll through a couple of questions, have a bit of a discussion.
Sure.
I think Ricky and I yesterday went for about 45 to an hour. We just talked shop and contextualise it from what we do at Binnacle, obviously Summit or Sirius Impact, which is now SBB People. So I'd be keen to, if you're willing to, or if you can, if you're able to share that journey. Pretty keen to unpack what you're doing to support businesses. Maybe talk about your $550 offering. Looking at what you're doing for clients, looking at what you're doing internally to support your people, I suppose, internally, but also the clients that you work with. Be keen to unpack that. Because obviously it affects a lot of our Binnacle families as well. Like, they're teachers, but, the husband may have been put off work and stuff like that. So I think it's all good vibes.
No one gets through this untouched.
Yeah, no one at all. Even within RYPN, I've lost my one client because of, the gyms are shut down. Where they could be pivoting money, into social digital marketing. Online marketing is different. Running online courses, stuff like that, online training sessions. I've seen some gyms do some really good work. Some are, pretty much going to potentially shut up shop just because they've lost money and, they're just going to, it's too hard basket, or just close doors and end leases and stuff like that. Sell off equipment and do something else and pivot. So,
but even there's big opportunity in products as well, like selling. We had my gym, World Gym, did a promotion saying in store between 8 and 12% discount off, and it was like 1 week into the you're not supposed to leave the house, and I was like, what are they doing?
But they sell on stock.
Or leasing. I don't know whether it was walk in or whether it was purchase online. But to me, people are like, there's an opportunity to, because they promote themselves as being cheaper than going to any store.
Yeah, because they're pretty much
leveraging that.
I saw that happen too. I know some gyms were leasing equipment. At least they were pretty much getting money on a weekly, and they were setting them up on a weekly retainer, just like their gym membership, and say, okay, I'll lease you this for $15 a week, or these pieces of equipment for $15 a week. Make something out of it.
Well, they with Reformer, because Camilla, my wife, she does teaches Reformer Pilates, and one of the companies in Australia is now setting up a membership where they deliver you a Reformer machine to your house.
Yeah.
And then they run the sessions online.
Yeah.
And you do it as a group, but you've got your Reformer at home.
It's crazy.
So they basically set up the lease, get it delivered to you.
Yeah.
And then part of your membership is
with the online training. I know I've got where I live now, like as a gym client or a PT who lives across the door from me, and he's been going to houses and running sessions, one-on-ones in their own home. So he said he's doing a lot of driving. His car comes in and out all day. Because it's a bit dodgy to run, group sessions in parks, which you physically can't anymore. It's just one-to-one.
Yep.
All right, mate. We might formalise this. We might get into the podcast, Reach Your Potential Now podcast, which is what we'll run with. Really keen to have you on board again, and thanks very much for giving up your afternoon, whether it's half an hour to an hour. Hopefully, people who are listening to this, and no doubt I'm getting a lot of value out of this, and the whole point of these types of conversations is to share experiences and share what we're going through, the hardships, but also share the successes, and maybe lend a hand where we can to people who are listening, but also other businesses within our networks, or people or friends or family that may benefit from a little bit of guidance or from what we discussed. So thank you, Brendan, for coming on board,
Absolutely.
Mate.
Appreciate it, mate. Love to chat as always. It's interesting times we're living in right now.
Yeah, definitely. I know the last time we caught up was pretty much the day we did our first podcast, and that was pretty raw. And, we're sitting across from each other, desk, face to face. We had a very loud conversation going next door with the bosses and those types of things. But obviously this technology is crazy, and, the capabilities of Zoom and the quality of these type of productions. And I was chatting to a colleague of mine yesterday, and Aaron Moore, who's another program manager for Binnacle, and we even spoke about, school visits and stuff like that, rather than sitting in the car for up to, could be a 3-hour round trip. It's an hour north side of Brisbane, hour meeting, an hour back to the office. You know, you've missed 6-7 phone calls from other teachers, other schools. You know, emails build up as well. Like in terms of productivity, I think utilising these types of technologies and then the other functionality of this is you can do screen sharing as well. Like we're just talking face to face. You know, sharing screens, talking through a problem. You're pretty much sitting next to someone anyway, doing what you would do in that normal situation, but you're saving yourself 2.5 hours of time that you can then leverage that against, you know, another important task that you want to get done for the day. You know, you do that over a period of time, you're winning back hours upon hours. So,
absolutely, mate. I think the thing that I'm learning at the moment is that of all the resources that we have available to us, time is the most significant one. And right now, the whole planet's got more time than it's ever had. Absolutely.
Definitely, time is key. We've also discussed previously to now the importance around communication with our friends, family, but by staying connected, but also with our clients. Do you care to sort of unpack that one there? I know that's big in your business and what you do.
Oh, look, absolutely. And I suppose to put it in the most clear way is we help businesses workforce plan. So it's about having both strategic and operational ways of helping your people understand what you're trying to do with your business and helping you do it. That's the simplest way of explaining it. And particularly over the last couple of weeks, I've got some clients who come on and they might want some particular thing done, like it might be help me build my performance management framework in the business. But the majority of the clients that I have are more long-term clients where we are meeting quarter to quarter, planning for their business and then helping them be accountable to execute on that stuff in terms of having a business plan and strategy, knowing how you can get your people to mobilize and connect into that and be clear on what their job is to help you make it all happen. And obviously in 3 weeks, it's all turned on its head. So I know a lot of clients I've met with at the start of the year, we were planning out, all right, what does 2020 mean? We sit down and plan out for the next 12 months. Yeah, and so my thing over the past couple of weeks has been more just checking in with clients. Like today, first thing when I walked in, I sent off about 20 text messages to a bunch of clients and a bunch of people just going, how's everything going today? Because obviously it's hard to tell one day. You know, for example, one of my clients, we were planning on this sort of social media marketing strategy, and then a week later it wasn't working, and so then we came up with something different to work out what we're going to do. And I texted her this morning and said, no, all right, business is starting to happen again and things are better. And so I suppose my shift has gone from focusing on monthly or 90-day rhythm to almost like daily or weekly check-ins. And just being there for my clients to be able to just have a conversation and bounce some ideas off as well. Because often I know having spent a little bit of time in the corporate world, the top end of town, the C-suite used to say can often be quite lonely at the top, but it's the same for business owners when you're trying to deal with all these things in your business. And not every business owner is going to be talking to their staff about, you know, how's the cash flow going and what they're trying to deal with. And then obviously if they've got their family or their kids that are at home and they're at home now and they've got this mobile workforce, it's really, I've been working with our partner business in accounting and financial business. And obviously in our team, we've got myself who's more in sort of HR planning and Nathan who's in industrial relations, looking at compliance and how do you keep yourself safe in terms of de-risking from doing things wrong and finding yourself in court or having a letter from Fair Work saying you've got some money to pay back to an employee that you haven't paid properly or something like that. So we've been looking at innovating in terms of the products that we sell. So one of the products that we've come up with is a 90-day program where clients can literally either call or email us unlimited for $550 plus GST, which is a discounted rate to what we would normally offer. But it's just, I suppose it provides them with a level of confidence and a relationship of someone who knows things that they don't, where they can call in. And so this is for new clients that haven't worked with us. Obviously, for our existing clients, we're helping them in whatever needs that they have. But that's been well received, and it's forced us to do things a little differently around putting some videos together and sharing them in the way we advertise as well, because for the stuff that we sell, often it's not really seen or known as overly valuable, because it's just one of those things you just sort out if you need to. But I think people are coming to realise, particularly in the last month, that you've got your sort of financial risk that you have, but there's also people risk. So if you don't know who your key people are and you don't have contracts in place, then all of a sudden, once you need to start making decisions about, do I need to let staff go? People are working remotely and performance isn't there, and I need to go about trying to make sure I can keep my business surviving. How do I lead and manage my team in that way so that from a de-risk perspective, it's ensure that cash flow keeps coming in, but making sure that your workforce is, I suppose, organised in a way, and even as a business owner, you're not having to be burdened by having to micromanage everyone, that you can sort of give people your trust and create a little bit of a system of how people can communicate together. But you can worry about some of the other things that are more pertinent at the moment, like can you get access to JobKeeper, and what sort of other entitlements can you get from the government that's sort of more strategic that you wouldn't normally have to be focusing in on. So it's been a whirlwind 3 weeks, particularly. And even obviously we've got Easter coming now, and then post-Easter, as things start to get a little bit more real in terms of, it's a month in now of this new reality, helping people to make more confident decisions. So that's been our last 3 weeks in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's definitely very busy, and we've chatted off air, and there's a good quote that I want to sort of bring in. I think it's timely. Winston Churchill mentions, never let a crisis go to waste, and how I position that, bit of context for me, like outside of Binnacle Training, which is my primary role, working in schools as a private RTO, through my experiences here at RYPN, Reach Your Potential Now, like through the hardships, I had one gym client, and unfortunately they've decided to obviously cut costs and reduce costs, and part of that was, unfortunately, see you later, RYPN with marketing and social media and digital marketing strategies, and running Facebook ads. And I guess the flip side of that is, I'm not too disheartened by that. As I said, it was a secondary role that I am looking to explore, to grow and will grow. But I think it's forced businesses to look at current systems and operations. And there's so many positives out of it. If there's one positive out of this situation, it's forcing businesses to look at internally. Okay, what are their strategies? How are they communicating with their clients? Are they using innovative technology tools? AR and VR are only, not far away. You look at Snapchat, for example, and the stuff that you can do on that particular device. I definitely think it's going to shake up some businesses to think, okay, what are my current ways of working? Are they going to best position me for what we know the 21st century is very involved in digital tools and digital technologies to really stay connected with clients. And I think the capabilities, as we mentioned previously around Zoom, I think will create another degree of communication and connection. And will that, we had a chat to another colleague yesterday, will that reduce the number of flights that we actually get on? And, we're spending a lot of money on travel by literally being in a room for a board meeting. Can we just connect up some devices like here, screen share, do the same outcome in a cost-effective environment? So, in terms of work travel, I'm just really excited to see what the other side of this looks like. I know it's the day-to-day, the isolation, #ISO, we're stuck inside, we're streaming a lot of Netflix and Stan. The stock price of Netflix has gone up significantly because obviously there's what else do you do at home? And, thankfully, those people are taking this seriously and are staying home and, reducing the amount of travel and only limiting to essential travel, work or food or etc. But I think, it's going to shake up the way we do things. And I know you've read the book, James Clear, Atomic Habits. systems and processes, and looking at 1% sort of better every single day. Like, I'm currently working my way through it. I'll sort of straight in reactive mode, similar to what you do, to make sure our schools and our clients are thought about and best preparing for school, which may or may not go back into term 2. It's been crazy, and I've been using the word pivot a lot. So businesses are pivoting. Look at the retail; they're pivoting online. You guys are being proactive in the way you're communicating with clients internally and externally. Using digital tools, using video. It's forcing you guys to think about social media communications, which may have not have been on highest priority at this point in time, but now it's pretty pivotal, because everyone's I'll bring in the phone here. Everyone's connected to this. Probably 2 to 3 more hours than we were previously to now. And that's where our ads need to be really catchy, really grabbing your attention. So I believe there's no better time to be looking at your ad strategies, your marketing strategies, and looking to pivot them from traditional methods. So, print and letterbox and those types of things, billboards, moving into digital marketing, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, and then obviously channeling all that traffic, giving away a lot of free content, your Gary V model, giving away a lot of value, a lot of advice, what you guys are doing, and then, building a database or assisting your database to then run ads to get to the right people. So, I'm excited by what the other side look like, and then just obviously anticipating what that could look like. And then from an investment perspective, from a time where you're investing your time, but also financial investment to set yourself, your business, and your family up for the foreseeable future.
Oh, absolutely, mate. And I think, there's this just incredible opportunity with, obviously there's a lot of sadness and a lot of really not great stuff happening in the world. If you look at it purely from sort of like a business and an innovation perspective, I sort of think of it as when you've got an exam or you've got an assignment due, usually it's that couple of days before. If you haven't got it in for whatever reason, you find this additional motivation and you find these ideas and creativity and the energy to make it happen, so you can get the submission in or make sure you do it. So it's like a burning platform that the world has never seen before, has never had. And I think as well what it's doing is it's forcing a different type of communication for people, because just by simply having the sheer volume of what's happening to the degree it is, you don't know what people are going through and what they're experiencing. And so I think in the past where, for example, salespeople might be quite pushy and really trying to ram a product down people's throats. Even my wife was sitting through a webinar today for watching how people do a multi-level marketing business in nutrition, and the guy was talking to everyone and saying, look, people don't want to know you as a person that's driving around with a big car and the big house. You need to relate to them, and right now is you obviously need to be more empathetic to what's going on in their lives. You can't just, whereas obviously in the past you could sort of just be as direct as you wanted to and it was sort of okay, but now it's sort of taking the edge or the harshness off sales, because people are needing to have a little bit more empathy, because people just aren't going to buy from people who aren't showing a higher level of empathy right now in the world. So I think that's changing the way sales is done in a sort of a human way. And as you said, I think in terms of technology, it's just changing behavior. It's forced change behavior, which is requiring people to think and act differently. And with this burning platform, I heard this idea from a video or something the other day around people being volunteer victims. And so it's going, look, there's a lot of people that are struggling, being challenged worldwide now. And it's about making a choice around, are you going to volunteer yourself as a victim to this? Or are you going to look at it as an opportunity to, it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be awesome, but there can definitely be some opportunities to grow, learn, contribute, support other people in a time where it's extreme need is there. And obviously with this burning platform, for businesses or for people in the past that might say, oh, look, you know what, we'll get to that next year. We'll just focus on this. Next year isn't a choice at the moment. It's either survive and get your business through this, or you're not going to be around to even implement or have a go at these things. So James Clear's stuff around atomic habits is massive at the moment, because in his emails that he's sending out, he's saying, look, we're, in terms of remote working and the way the world is now, we're having new habits forced upon us. And I suppose one of the downfalls of humanity, as well as its strength, is that we're really good at building habits and then automating them, so our brain doesn't have to use up a lot of energy and juice to keep repeating them. But now that we've got to create these new habits, now's our opportunity to be conscious of how we actually reshape these habits. And inevitably, the way that we reshape the habits that we're doing now around remote working and considerations around, do I go and drive in the car and meet that person, or do I do it over tech, and how we use time, that's going to have a long-term effect on humanity itself. So it's not going to be, all right, the pandemic's over, we go back to the way it was. That's not happening.
No.
The world has changed now, and how we set up the habits in the world and what we focus on and where we invest our time and resources now is going to influence what happens on the flip side of it. So it's exciting in that context, but it's obviously not great, because there are a lot of people suffering and experiencing not so great stuff at the moment as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we are blessed in the fact that you mentioned you've hit a couple of golden nuggets there already. I think it's an opportunity where we can, try and potentially limit the amount of streaming that we're actually doing and put that into self-investment. So self-learning, we're always learning, and I'm a big believer in lifelong learning as an educator. I think, if you can pivot in that sense, if you are without a job or struggling to maintain a job, I think there's opportunities where you can teach yourself a new skill, and that can potentially land you another career or another passion. And a lot of my social media knowledge has come through just reading, listening, and physically doing or learning on the run, or by watching a lot of videos on YouTube. It's a free streaming service. You'd be mad not to, reduce the number of hours that you're watching, the new Netflix series or whatever, and actually putting that time, because no investment in yourself is a poor investment. I'm sure there's a better quote than that out there, but there's it sums it up well though. Yeah, you might as well invest in yourself, fitness wise, spend the time, create routines. I think we're both pretty big on structure and routines, and not going to the wayside. You mentioned habits, and that's something that I was probably let slip a little bit. For me, it was around making sure schools, teachers were best prepared to be prepared for online learning or distance learning come term 2, depending on what the health advice and what all the education ministers decide, and that'll be released very soon. But also, making sure that your health and well-being is top of mind as well. And probably for a week or so, I try and exercise every day at some point, or jump on the spin bike in and around family and those types of things, go for a walk with the sun just to get some fresh air. And I sort of put that back on the back burner because I was sort of tied up in getting quality communications together for schools, putting together updates, which pretty much stipulates different ways of delivering, or methods that we've come up with, which we believe to be the best method of delivering a distance learning lesson, utilising obviously our online learning LMS, but also obviously the guidelines around practical completion. And we've been quite thoughtful and probably strategic in the way that as a team, we've tried to release not only one term, but also having 2 terms available. Gives the kids an opportunity where they can obviously complete all the theoretical assessment tabs, which has all the online learning. So it's a little bit self-directed. And I think it's only going to enforce the learner, the student, to be more self-motivated to have to teach themselves, because they're not going to have a teacher pushing them, or, you need to complete this homework, or this assessment's due, or you need to, read X amount, X, Y, and Z, to make sure that you're best prepared for the next lesson. It's going to fall back on the student to, otherwise if you don't, well, then you're just going to slip behind. And that's, I think, the reason, Scott Morrison is trying to keep schools open, because he doesn't want kids to fall back into a bad habit where they're playing online gaming and stuff like that, or watching Netflix. They want kids to still be learning. And I think that's beneficial as well, but also frees up, those essential services, provides an outlet, for kids to go to school for teaching. So like, I'm a believer, my gut feeling is it's going to be a blended learning environment next term, where you're probably going to have a couple of kids in your classroom, or they're going to be combined. A couple of classes are going to be pushed together, and you'll be delivering a lesson, a face-to-face lesson, but also a video lesson through Zoom at the same time. And one teacher could be, facilitating that online teaching, but also then screencasting what's been projected on the board or the PowerPoint, and just being really blending. So it's only going to enhance our skill set in that sense. And I think, it's probably a good wake up maybe for the education system, or I believe it's, really, they're going to have to adapt to the 21st century skills, which is the expectation that, when kids are leaving school, that they've got those skill sets to be able to then move into an employment pathway where, those skills are then translatable. But in and around the current system, it's tricky to teach all those skill sets in and around curriculum. So, that excites me. It's really forcing the learner, or the person, the individual, to invest in themselves, put some time, do some reading, some learning, and just really get unpack and get an understanding of what they're actually learning, because they're going to have to do it themselves. So, that excites me in the world that I work in.
I think it actually helps with the transition into tertiary education as well, because I know when I was in high school, doing maths where you're in the classroom learning, that was probably wasn't my most awesome subject. Whereas I remember doing stats and things at uni, and I had a great lecturer, but he also recorded it. So whether I went in there and did the course, I could go home and then watch it again, or if I was at home, I could watch it live, pause, rewind, go back again. And I definitely did better. And so I think in terms of like the continuity of students moving from secondary school into whatever they do, I think that probably helped. I know I've seen a few things on the news where a lot of year 12s are going, we're not going to get to have our year 12 like everyone else has. But I suppose in some ways
not,
it's positive. But I think the other thing in terms of learning is that people are, as you said, having to start to learn autonomously. So that's a habit in itself. I remember going up and speaking at the school assembly 15 years after leaving grade 12, and that was one of the things I said, is that learning begins once you leave high school. That's what I learned, like the real learning.
Absolutely.
And so the sooner, I suppose, kids can sort of have that blended experience, doesn't mean we just turn it off and everyone does school from home. But I think the more exposure they have, I think it helps them being able to transition into the workforce. But I suppose one of the other things that I thought might be helpful too is that, and I've shared this advice with a couple of younger people in the past, is that right now, if you've lost your job or you want to get new skills, a lot of businesses don't necessarily have the income to bring on new employees. But what's stopping you from volunteering your time?
Absolutely.
If you want to learn about social media, go and find a really successful social media company and say, hey, I want to, a day a week or 2 days a week, I want to come in and volunteer my time. But in doing that, you're learning. And I know, obviously I help businesses recruit staff in certain ways as well. And that's a great thing to have on your resume, is to say, I volunteered my time. I went and worked for a company that people know, and I learnt something. And now I've got that as a skill that I can build into my career. Like that's the type of employee I'm looking for, not someone who's just looking for pay right now. As you said, if you've got free time or you're in between and you're looking for a new career. So
it doesn't even have to be a big business. Even go to one of these small businesses in your community, like a cafe or a restaurant is really struggling. Just go, hey, I'm willing to help. You grow your social channels. I know, you're doing it tough. I'll help run your Instagram page, or I'll help run your Facebook page, start to build your content, and working with them. I think I've seen it happen a number of times, even in the elite sporting environments, generally they start as a volunteered trainer with their, as they're studying their S&C or their exercise science background, that, getting a foot in the door. And then obviously you're showing initiative, you're not expecting to be paid. Yes, you're putting in some big hours, but you're building your connections, building your relationships with people or, who are in big positions. And then, within a couple of years, you've got your qualification, you've had that experience, you've volunteered at X, Y, and Z. They're probably more inclined. They know you are ready, so they're not having to sift through a list of candidates. And so you've already got one foot in the door. So there's an opportunity there.
Or there'll be a great referee too.
Yeah, definitely. Or, move into a different field. So I think, there's so much opportunity. Social media, digital marketing at this point in time, businesses are pivoting. You'll see a lot more ads, I guarantee, pushed or removed from, what was referred to as traditional, moving into, online ads, with various call to actions, giveaway products. A lot of businesses are struggling, but there's another side, and it's just a matter of walking through it, tiptoeing, but also looking to make some big jumps as well to position your business a couple of lengths ahead of another business who may not be adapting or evolving or innovating quickly enough. So it's going to be interesting.
One of the things we're looking at doing is we run a lot of face-to-face workshops. So obviously we can't do that. So we're going to be building webinars instead. Right. So in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, we'll be doing some, I suppose, webinars around education for what we do around our product, but then offering it to people at the end and saying, look, if this is something that you need help with, we've got a product that you can utilize here. But also in terms of doing some supportive work around remote working as well, because obviously everyone's trying to work out how do you do it. So one of the other webinars will be making remote working work for you, and having one that's for business owners and having one that's for employees, and being able to offer it out there. So it's just there's a lot of content that you can curate from out on the web at the moment, but just by being able to package it short and sharp, put it out there for people particularly if they're working remote, it's, as you said, it's trying to identify who's got the certain problem they need a solution to, and then packaging it up. And I think people, instead of fearing and worrying what people will think, and there's a lot of other people doing it, I think that's what I've loved seeing at the moment is there's a lot more online content that's been coming out, people putting free complimentary information out there, which is helping other people both on socials and on YouTube and other things like that. But a lot of people have made a lot of money from this already before now. They just haven't made the leap to go to digital, electronic type of ways of engaging with people, educating them, and then offering them a solution. And I think it's also about some people are a bit scared of trying to sell to people at the moment as well. The way I look at it is, well, if I'm talking to you about how do you de-risk your business, how do you workforce plan, I've got these great ideas, I'm educating you, and I get to the end of a session and you go, yeah, I really need that, but you don't know where to go and get it. Why wouldn't I offer you something? It's that person's choice whether they see that there's enough value and what it is what they need. But I think that's also not being scared to actually put a product out to people, because you'll get feedback straight away. Either people will buy it or they won't.
Yeah, definitely.
But always offer them something.
And I think we get caught up in, you just mentioned that video, videos or putting online. It doesn't need to be to the fully polished edited video. I think you'll see more and more just literally pick up a phone, record, put it straight post up online. I think that's sufficient. So you'll see the shift between high polished videos with a lot of money and a lot of team, a lot of product, being put into an item. But it more so drip feeding a lot more content of just raw video, raw footage, honesty, of what they're doing to survive during this time, and just sharing experiences without a call to action, without a plug. And that's where you start to build your trust with your clients. I think the more you can give away for free, you're going to provide value. they're going to say, "Oh, I've
Absolutely.
seen this message. I've seen a lot of it now. I'm going to start to dip into what products and services they are offering, because how can they maybe assist me within myself or my business moving forward?" You're already starting to build that trust with them. They're more likely to, when you look at the sales funnel, in terms of sales, it's converting within 100 of people, you generally convert potentially up to 3 people. So you're shifting those cold people into the warm category, into the buyers, and the old traditional sales funnel there. So the more people you can shift up, and then obviously provide value, giveaways, ebooks, to seminars, to webinars, which is a great tool, and it's pretty easy to facilitate using a software like this. Sharing of screens, so you might have a complementary PowerPoint which is running side by side as well. So you're talking, but also explaining it and then giving examples. So there's no better time to connect and share, and using these types of devices.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's just having a go.
Absolutely.
So rather than going, I don't know enough, I'm not sure, I need to go and skill up. It's just
have a
you
go.
Can talk and you can sit on or stand up in front of a camera. I think it's you just jump in and you learn. I think it's all about not having a fear of learning. And that's part of what I'm enjoying about this as well. Is I've probably shot about 15 videos in the past 3 weeks, which I don't normally do. I do put videos up and pretty active on socials, but I've just enjoyed. We'll talk about, okay, we've got this little opportunity here, so let's put a little message up, and in the room I go, 10 minutes I walk out with a minute and a half worth of video content, upload into a MailChimp, and off it goes.
Definitely.
Love it. It's cool.
Yeah, and it's just so easy, and the more times you do it, the better you get at it, and that's the more confident you get in front of a camera. So highly recommend it. Like I've probably done 3 of these in the last 3 days, because they are fun too. They're a lot of fun. You just get on a conversation. It's pretty informal. We didn't have any structure behind this podcast. We see where the flow goes, and but as I said at the beginning, like, I'm learning. We're learning off each other. We're sharing our own experiences, and there's so much power in the sharing of learned experiences, triumphs, and failures as well. I think if we can help someone else, learn through our conversation. If we can help one person, then that's achieved something, and we're grateful for that.
Absolutely, mate. I think gratitude is probably a big one at the moment for people. Is that when you can offer your support and want to contribute to people and think of it more about them. So if you don't do that video, or you don't send that email, or you don't send that text, you're missing that opportunity to connect with that person. If you're doing it out of fear, going, oh, what if they think I'm trying to sell to them, or I'm not sure if I want to do it because I'm not confident, is just thinking, well, if you've got a good intention, have a go at it and put it out there, because otherwise that person misses the opportunity to either have that support or you reaching out to them, and that could be the one thing during that day that has helped them sort of get over a little hump that they're going through. So absolutely.
No, it's been fun, mate. I reckon we might. Do we want to pull it up there just for our podcast initially?
Sure. Keep going all day, mate.
Otherwise we just drag it on. But I might just stop recording.